Right then, Ross. I think this is going to be lovely. This is a bit of a, I was going to say guilty pleasure. I don't know if it is a guilty pleasure. Sort of grain whiskey.
It's becoming trendier, certainly. Yeah, this is really unusual, though. I mean, this is a North British, distilled 1964,
Nuts.
bottled 1989.
So that 25 years?
Amazing. Yeah. Now, old grain whiskey is affordable and very trendy right now by independent bottlers. But I can't imagine there being much of an audience for this in 1989. So really interesting. The grain distillery itself, I know you've been. It's kind of a joint venture between Diageo and Edrington at the moment.
It's quite odd. North British is sort of, for those familiar with Edinburgh, sort of between Murrayfield Stadium and Tynecastle.
Yeah, it's in Gorgie. I think that's what the area they call it, right?
Yeah, which isn't particularly exciting, but it's
an industrial site, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's a real industrial operation.
Yeah.
So, like, you need to wear a high-vis jacket and a hard hat if you were to visit. It's not open to the public.
No, it's not a pretty visitor centre kind of gig.
It's all stainless steel.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to visit, they said, and maybe I misheard, but they said they made more money. Obviously, you know, draff, the cattle feed, which is the byproduct of whiskey.
Yeah.
They said they make more money selling the draff to farms than they do
with
whiskey.
The grain. That's crazy.
And they basically said that ultimately they're a draff factory and almost whiskey's the byproduct.
That's bizarre.
Like, whiskey's like the sexy, exciting part of what we do. But like, if there's no demand for draff, we'd stop making whiskey.
And I think grain whiskies, for context, people might not have heard of North British. It really is a factory.
Yeah.
As you said, it's all stainless steel. This kind of started production 1887.
Right.
And after the first year, 1888, they were making 3.6 million litres, which is bonkers for back then. Absolutely bonkers numbers. They're doing about 10 million litres a year now, capacity, which isn't actually that mental for grain whiskey, but it would still make them in the top kind of 5 or 6 single malt distilleries in Scotland. So predominantly used for blends, of course, kind of a filler whiskey. Unusual to see it in this presentation. The bottler here is Moon Import. Now, I don't know much about Moon Import.
Yeah, so Moon Import are an Italian bottler, so importer as well. So, you know, for those of you familiar with Samaroli, Moon Import have a similar sort of story. So they started, I think it was 1980, they first started getting involved in bottling whiskey. At that stage, single malt whiskey wasn't really a thing. So they were able to kind of visit Scotland, have access to some amazing casks. This one is, as we say, it's a North British, matured for 25 years old.
I can't imagine how they...
Who's buying 25-year-old grain whiskey in, you know,
in the 80s? Like, and again, really was the downfall of whiskey in the 80s. Nobody was drinking even the best malts.
Yeah, I think with hindsight, you know, companies like Samaroli and Moon Import, you can see them as visionaries because they could see the potential of, you know, single distillery, single cask, you know, all that transparency that people want.
It's why you see their bottles going for so much in the secondary market nowadays because they just invested in the cask when nobody else really was doing it. It's a beautiful bottle. A great illustration on the front. From grain whiskey, normally we expect vanilla, fresh, light, no peat.
It's very distinct from malt whiskey.
It's quite simple, which I quite like. It's not.
I feel like grain whiskey less than maybe 20 years old. You think this is a bit simple. You can.
Yeah, that's fair.
It tastes quite industrial.
Yeah.
Once you get beyond that stage, you think actually this kind of comes into its own. It's got kind of subtle characteristics.
And nowadays, in 2024. Old grain whiskies you can get for an exceptionally good value in comparison to malt whiskies. So that's why I'm saying it is becoming a little bit trendier. I'm really not sure what to expect from this, so let's crack it open. So it looks like it was definitely an Italian import from the tax stamp as well. So typical of Moon Import. Do I just rip this tax?
Yeah, let's do it.
Probably the best way to do it. And we're a little bit nervous about some of these old bottlings because this looks like it's got a cork. And we never know how the previous owners have kind of taken care of it, right?
Could be mush, these older corks, but we'll give it a try.
And you know what? I don't see a natural tab to... We might have to get a little knife. Unless you think that's it there.
Stand back. Oh, that could be actually. I feel like that's not coming. Maybe if I could split this.
Yeah, good shout. Nice one. There you go, I made that look hard.
You did.
Oh, I'm nervous about this cork. It looks
fragile.
Yeah. Good luck. Godspeed. I'm not religious.
Look at that.
It was gonna happen.
Bugger. Right. Let's get our friend Mr. Corkscrew. I think we'll need for this one.
Okay.
Let's see what we can do.
Wish me luck. Gonna be quite aggressive. Did you hear that little hiss there? Disintegrating.
Oh, it's kind of
Terrible.
so predictable.
And do you know, it's wound me up before we even tasted the whiskey. It's a real shame. Okay, I'm just trying to grab onto as much as I can. This is a disaster.
You're right, hash with this, Ross.
Yeah, I have. I'm blaming the previous owner. Let's just see if we can get
tilt.
as much as we can without getting it in. Almost digging it out here, it's sticking to the wall. Some of it's went in. Well, it's not perfect.
I'll be taking this home tonight to
filter it
give it
out.
a replacement cork.
Right.
I'm actually very... I don't know, have you had many North Britishes?
I have, yeah. I
before?
had a couple of recent North British, kind of 20, 29, 30-year-olds from a local independent bottler here in Edinburgh that were really, really decent. I don't think I've ever had a grain whiskey that was bottled in this period. So I'm really not sure what to anticipate. I'm going to get a lot of cork here, but...
Yeah. I mean, grain whiskey is... The way it's made, you know, you're going to assume it's consistent.
Yeah, but also it's mass-produced. I just can't... This seems... You know, we've opened a lot of really special old Samaroli Moon import bottlings. We've been really lucky in some of the stuff we've come across. This one makes the least sense to me. Why have they picked this single grain up? Other than Hague... There really hasn't been a market for single grain that's existed for very long.
They're visionaries. They thought, you know, in 30 years...
Which will be popular.
Laurie and Ross are going to love
They're
it.
going to pop it open. Not very successful.
I think that smells outstanding.
Okay, I'm excited then. Is it that what you want? Is it fresh vanilla?
It's just so different from single malt. And I wouldn't say it's better. I wouldn't, like...
I am so happy with how this has turned out. Oh my goodness, it is fresh vanilla. It's so light. It's not complex.
It's like that juicy sweetness.
Oh, absolutely. It's
like why would we ever drink single malt when you can just drink this?
There's a little bit of peach in there as well, but again, like juicy, like you bite into it and juice runs down your face into your beard. Like it's really, I'm loving this. This is.
Remind me to never eat fruit
around me.
I feel like you're gonna make a right mess.
I can't. This is better than I thought it was gonna be. I've not even tasted it yet.
And the fact that this has been in this bottle until 60 seconds ago. This has been in this bottle since before I was born.
Yeah, it was bottled 10 years before I was born. It's been in the bottle for 35 years.
Like you're younger than me. You don't need to rub it in.
But yeah, 1989.
So it's 25 years old, and then it's been in the bottle for 35 years.
Mad.
That's
and it's still
unbelievable.
That vibrant and lively.
Yeah, it's been 60 years since this was distilled. That is awesome.
Really, really special. And it's I say only, it's 46% ABV.
Okay, great.
And it's, I think the whiskies of this, of this age in terms of bottling age, sometimes get a bit sort of oxidized and they become a bit flat and a bit dusty and you get that sort of old cardboard, wet cardboard thing.
Yeah.
This is still super vibrant.
Yeah, generous strength, 75 CL as well, which we don't even get here in Scotland anymore. The palate is actually, I've got a bit more body to it than I was expecting, but it is classic grain whiskey. I mean, it's got a little prickly spice to it as well on the palate.
Yeah.
More so than I expected.
It's not as sweet and fruity as fun as the nose suggested.
No, the nose is so unapologetic vanilla in your face. The palate has cinnamon, has nutmeg. I mean, we don't know what kind of cask this is. I imagine it was American oak, but
for me, would it be unfair to say it tasted a little bit thin on the palate?
I think no.
For me, the nose. I think we both agree the nose was outstanding.
Yeah. The nose is what we wanted from grain whiskey, but the palate is isn't quite as delicious as perhaps the nose presented. I still think it's really tasty. It's way before its time.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. It is. Well, let me give it another go.
Yeah, palate falls a little bit short for me. I think the finish is maybe a little bit short as
that's
well.
exactly what I think.
But I don't know if that's consistent with a lot of kind of older grain whiskies I've had. Where you smell the nose and you get very, very excited. And then you taste it and you think, actually, maybe it's lacking a little bit of that depth and substance that you can only get with single malt.
I think that's a really fair analysis. I think the palate is still, it's loads of flavour. Arguably, maybe a bit more flavour than some of the grains we get nowadays.
Yep.
But it's not overwhelmingly sweet. And as you said, the finish is quite short.
Yeah.
Really fun to try though. What a disaster opening the bottle. It looks a mess. But 60 years ago, North British, in this city, what a pleasure to try that.
Amazing. And I think it does show, you know, these Italian importers, bottlers, Samaroli, Moon Import, to have that foresight of thinking, actually, well-aged grain whiskey
could be a product in itself.
Could be a thing. They were
way ahead of their time.
Yeah, absolutely. So a real pleasure to try this, and yeah, maybe
somebody has to open this stuff.
Exactly.
I'm glad that we're the
palate maybe falls a little bit short, but the nose is spectacular.
This is a memorable jam for me. Really memorable. Cheers.
Good fun.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.